We've got a rainy day, so we're going to come on in the shop. Bear with me, I'm getting used to this. So in the shop, we've got the Hagie in here. We've been doing fall apply, and so it's a little dirty, but we're going to change our hub oils. We're going to rotate the machine forward, drain here, fill to this line by filling in this top hole. Like I said, it requires moving the machine. We've been replacing the rubber check valves in some of the nozzles where they've been leaking. We're going to inspect all our steering bolts. Just do a general going over. Going to get an oil change, hydraulic filters. I'll have actually set them all together so we can see that. And also, we were lazy. We didn't take the corn fungicide boom off for fall apply. It's coming off now. Better late than never. Right now, we've got the 650, 65, R38. Yeah, that's what they are. Whew. Thought I was off. Wish we had the 710s. They make a 710 on a 42-inch wheel. When we did this machine, the price of entry was pretty high, so any other options we kind of cut back. So we have in-floor heat. We burn wood right now. This Sunfire radiant heater warms things right up. Filming this on a Friday, so our goal would be to have the weekend off. So the floor heat just takes some time. I really like it. It's just cutting the wood and feeding it. We got to be really dedicated as a shop week, and we'll use it. But if not, this radiant heater heats us right up. Now we had 2005 before this. The hood was extremely heavy to lift. This one, you just hit a button. I know, lazy farmer stuff. Let's hear it. It's pretty cool. The hoods have gotten a lot heavier. Gives us fairly easy access to the motor. We'll see that here in a few. We picked this machine up from SEMA Equipment. It was on Tractor House in Minnesota. Well, we were looking for machines. We were looking for a 17 or newer. We really wanted the 19. That way we had all the Deere components, you know, the Deere engines in the 19s. Some of the 17s, the booms, that was a fairly new boom for that year. I think it started in 17. And we definitely wanted the heavier finals. This 2019 finals are real heavy on it like that. The Deere motor's really good. It's hard on fuel, it's thirsty, but it gets the job done, covers a lot of ground. Monder, I know, running 15 miles an hour, I think that's like 240 acres an hour with this boom. It's just crazy numbers that are achievable. But anyway, we'll climb around, we'll look at this. So the radiator's in the back of a Hagie. It's got a reversing fan. In tall corn, we get a lot of tassels. It builds up against the radiator normally. So in the tall corn package, they have this radiator air box. Material hits here, doesn't get in here. When the fan reverses, it blows anything that is in there, it blows it out. I'm going to take this off for spring stuff. We don't have any issues. Really like this boom. This is Deere's hybrid boom. It's a 60-foot inner steel main rack. Then your outer 60 foot's aluminum. Kind of see here and the difference. Gotta be aluminum. They put the outer wings, the breakaways are on like a double spring system. I'm trying to describe this. But you've got a chain on both sides of your pin, so that can actually wave back and forth. But by it being flexible like that with the spring, allows us not to break the boom. Now we had a 2005, as I spoke before, had a 90-foot boom. This is Hagie steel boom. Very durable. That was the first year for the yellow boom STSs. 2005 was. We had that machine for 10 years, and we gave just over 100 for it, and it sold for 72 over 10 years, and I cannot believe that. But this one, it's not going to do that. It will cost a pretty sizable amount to keep it around. Therefore, we put it to work. We do 3 passes. Anything we don't cover with a drone gets ran with the ground rig. We also do some for neighbors, just your tall corn applications, as well as do that with the drones. So you're going to change the fluids in this. Where do you start? Well, the first thing I'm thinking about, operator's manual. Did you guys read instructions? Come on now. We're not that smart. No. Deere has a nice manual laid out. They highlight watt hour of what maintenance needs done, you know, so we'll check our hours, adhere to what the book says for a maintenance plan on checking things, and then we're going to notate in our maintenance log all the hours. Any parts that we add, we'll notate that so we know the year. For further replacements, didn't think that was a big deal, kind of laughed at that. Why would I write that down? But we've changed oil in things that have already been changed, and it's happened more than once, so we write it down now. Actually, we record it on an app on a phone. Can't say enough about Hagie premium cab. Got a heated and cooled seat. I mean, it's really nice setup in here. We put a lot of hours on the machine. I believe I don't know for sure. I'd have to check this. I'm guessing 375-ish a year. And the drones have kind of helped that bring the hours down some. We use those on some of the tall corn. I ran some tall corn with the ground rig, ran it with the drones. Didn't really see any difference. So I think either one's a great way to apply. I don't want to knock the airplane guys. We won't go there, but I'm sure that's a fine way too. But we're kind of ground rig and drone guys, so show you more about that in the coming. It's a little congested in there. If we didn't have the EPA pollution stuff on the motor, be some more room, just saying, but we won't go there. Parts here. See some oil. Brennan's pointed out we probably have an O-ring up in here. Track it up the wire. These usually have some oil you'll find on them. Fill with diesel here, depth there. We get busy working and I don't set the camera. That's what we run into. So we took the filter off here, right there. This sensor was loose. It's got an O-ring out. So that was what all the oil was. Got the engine oil draining there. Hydraulic oil draining there. In the meantime, Brian's been over here. Got new seals in the front end. So this tractor will be fixed. Needs 80-90 gear oil to top it off. Of course, we didn't have any of that. And I had drained all the hydraulic oil in the Hagie, knowing we have to move it, thinking we had full barrels over here. Well, empty, so we're not going to be able to finish that today. We also are out of gear oil. We can get that local, but the barrels are not going to be here till first of the week. So with the Hagie, we have this RESPA filter. My understanding, the cab's positively charged with air to expel any kind of chemical contaminants from getting into the system. It's got a charcoal filter in behind the cab here, an air filter, your HESPA filter, and then, like I said, the cab pressurizes. It's like a big hydraulic motor. Lots of hydraulic filters, engine oil, fuel filters, air cleaner, DEF filters. When you're looking at a used Hagie, especially a higher hour machine, it's important that they did the greasing of the legs. That's kind of your high wear point. So you can see the suspension. This travels up and down this big arm here, and it hooks to the bag up top. It's got a halo over the top of that. Now the 2019s, they went to a dual stage bag. That helps with ride quality, especially when you've got a heavy load on. So usually the rear mount guys are backing in the corner and then they take off and are spraying. With the front boom, you're driving into your corners. So you've got yards and gardens and all of your sensitive things. And that's hard to control when you're going forward. You gotta really watch your wind. They've got some apps. We've got one that does for the drones. It works real nice on wind direction and things. Not that you can't tell which direction the wind's blowing, but more data is always welcome. Mentioned this before. For those of you who've been around a Hagie, you know this, but anyone that's not been around a Hagie, if you hear a Hagie or you're around one that's running and you see the ladder raised, that's when the operator's going to move. Anytime we take the parking brake off, it makes the ladder raise. As such, you turn the parking brake on, it makes the ladder lower. And the newer ones like this one, the 19, you get out of the seat and the ladder lowers. The old one wasn't like that. If you didn't remember to set the brake, the ladder would stay up. I ran into that a couple of times when I needed off in a hurry. So. NORAC UC7 on this machine works really good. We had NORAC, I believe it is UC4, and I've been around UC5 a little bit. UC7's been really good about running. Doing some research on YouTube, I actually found a video, and they were talking to the John Deere guys on sales, and it mentioned how 2016 and prior, the NORAC systems and the Hagies just didn't get along. They weren't really exactly what everyone wanted, but they were talking about how, hey, this works, and you be sure to tell these Hagie guys this one really works. So seen a video that had that, and it was kind of a sales video, not to sell them, but for their sales team. So I thought that was kind of neat. I'd share that. YouTube has a plethora of information. I've learned quite a bit on there, so kind of try and do my part to share back. Coming from Minnesota, had to have a lot of trust in the dealer. SEMA equipment. After talking to the sales guy a couple days in a row, I trusted his word. He knew the previous owner, didn't have a lot of hours on it. And we cut a deal over the phone. So I actually bought this sight unseen, which was a little gutsy, but in today's environment, we're doing more of that. Haven't been burnt too bad doing that. We had a 2001 Kenworth with a C12 cat in it. And for those of you familiar with the C12, you'll know that around 500,000 miles, your water pump goes out and that weep hole goes in the block, so you're getting water in the pan. Well, this particular Kenworth, we got it home and it had water in the pan. Of course, that's bad, never good. It was just over 500,000 miles, so we researched a bit and found somebody that said, hey, the water pump goes out of those at 500,000 miles, 500,000, just like this. Said if you don't change those, it just puts the water in the pan. Well, sure enough, that was all that was wrong with it. Now, by the time we fixed on it and did things, we really got a good deal on it originally. Kind of ended up just being so-so. We didn't do bad, but we had to work to get the deal because of having that problem. We bought a planter. The 4900 was as well sight unseen. Bought it on, I believe, auction time. We've done that with a few things. One of the Challengers came from Ritchie Brothers. The other Challenger the two others came from farmers. And every industry, everything right now, you can't trust anybody. But after we talk for a few minutes, you can tell if he's legit, and I can kind of tell, back and forth who's legit, who's not, and it only takes a few minutes, and then we trust one another, and so far it's worked great for me. I hope it continues to, because there's no other industry that works in. Farmer's word's good, and it still is today. Hopefully that stays that way.